So when we look at these, you are going to need to know that the larger square is an x squared, the rectangle is x, and the smaller square is worth 1. So when I first set these up, I want to create a rectangle. And I'm going to draw each of these on the side. So I'm going to put this one on the left. Okay, so I'm going to write left here. And I'm going to draw 2 rectangles because that is my x. And then I need 4 little squares. Okay, so we have x, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the top. So this time I'm going to draw 3 rectangles, and I'm going to draw 1 little square here. So I have x, 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 and 1. Now the key with the area method is that after you have set up those outside terms, you're going to create a rectangle by drawing a line from those boundaries all the way across. And then you're going to do that everywhere you see a line. So if I look at the top, everywhere I have a line, I want to draw a vertical line all the way down. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing across. And then once I'm here, I'm going to count up all the shapes that I have using my key. So if I look at this, we remember that the big rectangles are all x squared. So when I look at them, I have 6 x squareds. When I look at just my x terms, those are the rectangles and they can be vertical or horizontal. I'm going to count up all of them. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 x's. And then we have our 1s, and those are just going to be down here. And I see that I have 4 of them. So when that is our case, we have positive 4. So that would be my final answer here. And notice all of my tiles here are positive, so I don't need to worry about any type of negative or shading just yet. All right, looking at example 2, we're going to set this up the same way. And I do notice that we have negative numbers here, so that will affect our shading when we color things in. But we're going to start just like we did last time. So I'm going to make this my left side. So when I draw that straight line down, I'm going to have 1 rectangle and 6 squares. Then across, I'm going to have 1 rectangle and 1 ones. So now when I look at this, I do need to pay attention to my negatives. So anything that's negative, I'm going to shade in. So with this one, we're going to have these 6 that are shaded. And then with our 1, we're going to shade that one as well. From here, we start the same way. So I'm going to create a rectangle going over my boundaries. Everywhere there's a line, I'm going to draw a line vertically and horizontally. Now we need to look at whether we're going to shade them or not. When the signs or when the shading is the same, we leave it positive. If they're different, then we shade it negative. So looking at the shading, I'm going to start in this one and I'm going to look all the way up. I see that it is blank. Looking all the way left, I see that that is also blank. So I'm going to leave this alone because this one is positive. Here, I'm going to look all the way up. I see that it's blank. All the way to the left, I see that it is shaded. So because those are opposite, I'm going to shade this one in. Looking at this one, all the way up, we have a blank rectangle. All the way to the left, I see that I have shaded. So I'm going to shade this one in as well. And that is the same pattern for all of these here, because at the top it's blank and on the left, all of these are shaded. So I'm going to go ahead and shade this whole column here. Going to my next one, I'm going to look all the way up. I see that I have a shaded rectangle, but all the way left, it is blank. So because those are opposite, I am again going to shade this one. Now looking at these little squares, I see all the way up, it's shaded. All the way left is shaded. Those are the same. They're both shaded. So I'm going to leave this one blank because it is a positive square. And looking down, that's true for all of these. If I pick this square, all the way up, it's shaded. All the way left, it's shaded. So I'm going to leave that one alone because it is a positive square. So that might be the hardest part here, but you look all the way up and all the way over. So now that we have the shading part done, we're going to go ahead and tally up what we have. So here we have an x squared. There's only one of them, and because it's not shaded, it's positive. So we're going to leave that as a positive x squared. Looking at our x's, our rectangles, I see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and they are all shaded. So these are going to be negative. Okay, so anything we color in is negative. So it's going to be a negative 7x. And then when I look at my ones, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them are unshaded, which means we are positive, and we're going to say that that is a positive 6. So that would be my final answer here. All right, looking at example 3, we have 10 plus 2x times 8 minus x. Now for space, I'm going to make this first term my top, and I'm going to make this my left side. I can see that these are both bigger numbers, so it's just going to be longer pieces to draw. Looking at that, we have 10 plus 2x. Okay, so that's my top piece right there, 10 ones and 2x terms. Doing the same thing on the side for the other one, I have 8 and 1x. So that would be my left side. Now I do need to go back and look at signs to make sure there's nothing else that I need to shade. 10 and 2x are both positive, so I'm not going to shade anything on the top. 8 is positive, but my x is negative, so I am going to shade in that bottom rectangle here. All right, now connecting my rectangle, I'm going to bring this all the way down and all the way across, and do that for every vertical and horizontal space. All right, so doing that, my shape looks like this. Now I would look at every row and column to see which things I need to shade. Everything from this point up does not have any possibility of being shaded in because my top row is all positive. But if I look at the very bottom row here, I see that I do have a shaded rectangle, and then everything at the top is positive. So that means all of these shapes in here are going to have opposite coloring. Because if I look up from this block, it's unshaded. If I look all the way to the left, it is shaded. So those are opposites, and I will need to shade all of those in, and that will be true for this whole row. Okay, so if you need to pause and look at that shading, feel free, but otherwise I'm just going to finish this in. We have to look at things that might cancel. Okay, so when I look at this, I can see that I have 2x squareds, and both of those x squareds are shaded. I don't have any positive x squares, so I know that I have negative 2x squareds. Okay, looking at my rectangles, I've got some different stuff going on here. I have shaded rectangles and I have unshaded rectangles. So before I put my final answer, I want to cancel out all of the rectangles that I can. So anytime I have a shaded and an unshaded, those cancel each other out. So I'm just going to go across here and shade and cancel out a shaded and unshaded until I am no longer able to do so. Okay, so everything with a green line has been canceled out. And looking at what is left, I have 6 unshaded rectangles. So that would be a positive 6x. And then looking at my ones, I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 across, and I have 8 down. So if I do 10 times 8, or if I were to literally go through and add all of those up, I would have 80. Okay, and that would be my final answer here. So you can see that if those of you are really enjoying drawing everything out, you definitely can, but the more our numbers increase, the longer it's going to take, and the more messy it can get when you're trying to cancel out terms. But if this method works for you, absolutely go for it. This would be my answer for this one. And example 4, we have smaller numbers here, so this would be a smaller picture, fortunately. So we have 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. I'm going to make this one my top. It really doesn't matter. Just make sure you know which one you're putting where. Because I have 2 x's, I have 2 rectangles, and I have 3 rectangles that need to be shaded in because those are negative. For my left side, I have 2 x's again, and I have 3 ones, but this time I'm leaving those unshaded because they are positive. Creating my rectangle, I'm going to go all the way down, all the way across, and then do that for every time I have a line. Looking at my shading, I know that the terms here will all stay unshaded because I know at the top I have an unshaded block and all the way to the left those are unshaded, so those match, they are the same, so I'm not going to color anything in. For the last three though, I see that I have a shaded block at the top and unshaded all the way to the left. So that means everything in this column will need to be shaded, as well as this column and the other column. So all of these blocks will be shaded in, because when I look all the way up and all the way over at each block, those colors are opposite. One is shaded, one is not. Here, I'm going to look at going through each shape. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x squareds. All of these x squareds are unshaded, so they're going to be positive. So I'm going to have positive 4x squared. Looking at my rectangles, I see that I have some shaded and some that are not. So I need to cross off all the ones that I can. So that one would cross off here. My second one would cross off here. Third one would cross off here. Fourth one, fifth one, and sixth one. So all of my rectangles canceled. So I actually have 0 x's. And then looking at my ones, I have 9 and they are all shaded. So I'm going to make them -9. To clean up my final answer, I could just write 4x squared. The 0 x's, I don't need to put it. So I could just put 4x squared minus 9. And that would be my final answer from this drawing. All right, example 5, our last one. We are doing x minus 3 squared. So anytime you see this squared, that means you repeat what is inside the parentheses. Okay, and you repeat it 2 times because it is a 2. So this one right here is actually going to be the same as me saying x minus 3 times x minus 3. From here, when I draw my blocks, I just need 1 rectangle and 3 cubes for both the side and the top, because those repeat. Both of my 3's are negative, so I'm shading those in. And then when I go to connect it, I'm going over all of those lines, both horizontally and vertically. And then from here, I'm checking all of my rows and columns. So if I look at my square here, up and over, I see that those are both unshaded. So I'm going to leave it alone because they match. Looking down, I see at the top I have an unshaded, the left is shaded, so I need to shade those in because those are opposite coloring. Looking at this rectangle, same thing. At the top it's unshaded, left is shaded, those are opposites, I gotta color it in. And same thing with this last rectangle. All the way at the top it is unshaded, and all the way over is shaded, those are opposites, I color it in. Looking at my next column, I see that this rectangle, we have a shaded block at the top and unshaded rectangle over on the left. So that means this will be colored. Looking across at this rectangle, same thing. I see at the top it's shaded, but the left is unshaded. So those are opposites and I color it in. The same is true for that last rectangle. Looking at my ones below, I see that this one right here has a shaded block at the top, shaded over. Those match, so I will not color it in. And that is true for all of my ones. So any ones that I pick, all the way at the top it is shaded, all the way over is shaded. Since that coloring matches, I leave it unshaded. All right, now that we have everything colored, we're going to go ahead and sort. So we have 1x squared that is positive because it is not colored in. Looking at my rectangles, they are all colored in, so I can't cancel anything. So I'm going to say we have -6 x's. And then looking at my ones, we have 9 ones. They are all unshaded, so they will be positive. And then rewriting this in standard form pretty much leaves it the same way, but we are not going to write that 1. In standard form, we just know that the 1 is there. All right, and that is it for multiplying with algebra tiles.